have probably got this all set up beforehand, but, you know, what are you going to do? This will still be fun, I suppose. I guess that'll work. Alright, we're going to be making some spindle bowls. Actually, let's see if I can bring this down further. Go with that. That'll work. Hello, welcome in. So today we're doing a little batch of these spindle bowls. So these are black walnut. So I planed them down to size, cut them out on the bandsaw, sanded the edges, and then I rounded over all the edges on the router table. So next up is we'll flap sand them, and then they will get a mineral oil finish. I have a piece of tape here to tell me when to stop drilling. That sets the depth. And we'll just work down to that depth, like that. These are for the drop spindles. These are for actually the supported spindles. So you take these and this is a rejected spindle, but you would set them in here and then spin them. It just gives you a nice little cup shape. It's not very deep, it's not very pointed. Like I said, this is a rejected one. Yep. So by drilling that hole, you're presetting the depth, so you don't even have to really think about it. Hello, welcome in. go. And like I said, it's all going to get flap sanded yet, and then a finish put on. So to hold these on the chuck here, I just designed and 3D printed basically some soft jaws, just TPU. Yep, so we're going to run a batch of these, I believe. I think I had like 30 or 35 prepped. Let's see. We got like 18 after this to make it. Here's one that's done. See how it's shiny? Hey Carpenter, how's it going? Welcome in. So I'm not a really big, I'm doing well. Went to bed way too early. Me and Vicky got up, I don't know, about 4:45, walked to work. Haven't had any breakfast yet, but...
As it say, are you hungry? I'm actually getting hungry.
What's that? You hungry? I am. You want to scramble some eggs? Maybe eat up a hot dog?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Thank you. Hey 78, welcome in. So these are going to a couple festivals. So I will make some that are a little bit wider, some that are a little bit deeper. This is pretty much the size I'm shooting for. So I'm not a huge fan of carbide tools, but for this use, it just works out the best. Hey Dion, how's it going? Welcome in. So I think I've got maybe 2 days yet on making. We'll burnish this one. Turkish spindles, and then I'll be done with those. I'll still make them for the websites and stuff, but for the shows I should be pretty much done. So we're making progress. You ordered the lathe? Awesome. They are a lot of fun. A little scary at first, but so the store that I get my sandpaper from has been out of my sandpaper for a couple weeks now. So I ended up buying some random orbital sanding discs. These are 5-inch ones. They were on sale. So a 5-pack was like 55 cents. So I'm gonna make these work. Nice. Should definitely keep you busy for a while. Yeah, the chuck really opens up a lot of possibilities. Well, I bought a camping shower, so I got that going for me. It'll be nice to have for, you know, camping. I did set it up here, so nothing like taking a shower, you know, with a 5-gallon bucket as your water supply. I guess it forces you to conserve water. Yeah, so these jaws that I made, they're pretty much for this purpose only. I'm not putting a lot of pressure in that direction. So I sand the sides with an oscillating spindle sander that has like a belt sander attachment. And Vicky was using it a couple days back, and the belt for the oscillating broke. So I'm like, oh, not a big deal. I'll just order a new one. Well, Harbor Freight doesn't sell the belts. And then I looked, and the belts, if I got them off like Amazon, for both belts, it was like, after shipping, it was like $50. I mean, it's a $200 thing new. And I've had it for a couple years, so I just bit the bullet and bought another one. Because the belt broke for a reason. I mean, I would hate to stick $50 in belts in and then have it burn out, you know, right away. And all I have to do is, you know, sell 20 of these to pay for it. Yeah, it's like, I could troubleshoot it, I could work on it, but, you know, right now I'm kind of busy. And I needed it, so I went and bought it, you know. So these are little spindle bowls for supported drops. Well, they're not drop spindles; they're supported spindles. So they're just a little bowl, and then you put the spindle into the bowl to spin it. It depends on what it is. You know, this stuff right now, I am going up to 220. But this is just the initial finish. Then they're going to go to a fine flap sander. So the bowl part has to be smooth, but the rest of it's not a real big thing. You know, unlike the supported spindles, I'll go up to about 600 grit. Oh, that's a good idea. Keep stuff from rolling around. Yeah, that should get you going, for sure. And have you thought about sharpening? Yeah, sharpening is kind of a personal journey. You know, I went with a low speed grinder. But I started out with like using like a sandpaper style sharpener for a while. It worked all right. You know, and then I went to the low speed grinder. And then I replaced all the composite wheels with CBN. I got 2 CBN wheels, which I really like. The Tormac style ones, you know, are really, really good. But when I bought my stuff, it was going to be outside in freezing temperatures.
It's done. You want it here or you want it there?
Thank you. You're amazing. Wrecked it. Yeah, sharpening, it just keeps going. Just a little bit at a time. Well, it would suck to, you know, sharpen the whole thing and have the angle wrong on it. So you actually didn't sharpen the cutting part, you just sharpened everything else. It's not a bad idea. We are making little spindle bowls for supported spindles for spinning yarn. Got like 4 more to go, and then we'll switch over and we'll make some Russian spindles, which these will go into. Not a problem. So we're phoning in lunch today. I'm gonna make some grilled cheese sandwiches and some soup. So Vicky actually walked to work with me today. Yep, so drilling the hole, it sets the depth, so I know how deep to go in. But yeah, it gives me clearance to bring that tool in. Yeah, you can just 3D print one. I laser cut that one. I've got 3D printed ones laying around here too. I could see 3 of them, and none of them are the 3D printed ones. Yeah, so the tape shows me how deep to drill. Right? It's a journey. And there might be a wood turning guild as well. that's definitely a way to do it. I mean, all right. So that one's got a little chip in the top there. A little bit more. I don't mind having this one a little bit domed. We'll make it really domed. It's not too bad. Not necessarily. I mean, I could use a bowl gouge in this instance too. Except for I don't have a small bowl gouge. So this is my bowl gouge. So I'd have to be really far back and come in. I mean, it would work. It's just, yeah. These little fellows are just cute. They'll be buffed out. Do I have a favorite wood to turn on the lathe? I really like turning hard maple. Just turns really nice. Hey Fade, how's it going? So we're done with that. We're gonna take these off. Cherry turns really nice. All right, so I'm taking the tailstock off. I'm gonna remove this banjo. Then I just have a longer tool rest on this banjo. Have you ever had a chance to work with redwood? Redwood would be really, really soft. As long as you're not going really, really thin, I think it should be all right. I'm going to go use the restroom. We'll be right back. I actually have a little bit of a... I've got some redwood here. Some little pieces. So we're going to set up these calipers. So this is my template. Alright, so I have a template here, and then I have a story stick here. So I use the story stick just to transfer the lines over and give me the overall length. And then we'll use that to compare. So we'll start out with cherry. All right, let me bring this up a little bit so you can see what's going on. Well, you might not need calipers right away. All right, so I'm going to take the largest diameter to start with. So I'm going to start out with the roughing gouge. These have a very, very, very big taper to them. So I'm just going to bring this down to just about 3/8 of an inch on the end here. Now I'm going to back off the tailstock with it running. I'm going to see if it's centered or if you got a lot of vibration. Yeah, this one is centered, so we're good. If it was not centered and had vibration in it, we'd be cutting it down a little bit and then resetting it until we find it nice and smooth. Hey, Four, how's it going? Welcome in. Yeah, for the digital ones, you'd have to almost stop to set it in. You wouldn't want to vibrate the piss out of those. All right. Now I'm going to be using my, let's see here. What's the best way to stabilize long pieces on the lathe to keep them from bowing in the middle? Well, you know, depending on how big and how thick it is, you know, a steady rest is probably the best idea, which would be a series of rollers that would actually hold it. Like this stuff, it's a matter of taking your time, especially when you start getting onto the thin business. So I'm going to leave about a 1/2 inch here. Just trying to bring in this egg shape. Hey cat, welcome in. We have one more diameter to set, and that's here. And then we'll be done with the calipers. Now, if you were just making one, you wouldn't need the calipers at all. But if you're making a bunch of them, probably a good idea to have them be the same. So when I start getting thin, I'm going to start supporting it with my hand. So I'm going to go from the roughing gouge to the spindle gouge. So when you use the tools, do you use the corner of it? So with this, I could use the front or the sides of the wings. If I was bull turning with the bull gouge, I'd be riding the bevel. So I would, you know, have the bull sitting here, and I would just be running it this way across it. So yeah, you can use different parts of it depending on what you're doing and how aggressive you want to be. Now when I was laying this out, you know, I'm using this as a scraper. So this might as well be carbide right now. You know, but when I start doing the final cuts, I'll have it up on edge and I'll be using it the way that God intended, I guess. So I'm just going to match this up here. It's actually looking pretty darn good so far. I'm going to have to take off a little bit more here. But like I said, we left that a little bit fat on purpose. You know, the skew's ground on both sides, so it goes to a point. Where if I was using a more typical scraper, it would be flat and then have bevel there. So we're going to get most of the sanding done now, as much as we can. This section here is going to need to be sanded, and that section is going to need to be sanded as well. Burnish with some wood chips. when you're first starting out, start making square pieces into round pieces. Do a search for like wood turn mushrooms. Mushrooms are kind of fun because it kind of teaches you a bunch of different skills at once. And if it doesn't turn out, if it doesn't do what you want it to do, you're still going to have a mushroom at the end of the day. There are some pretty cheap pen kits as well, yeah. You know, this time of year, maybe some snowmen would be a good practicing as well. Once you get it, you always want to be like a season ahead of what you're actually at. Hey, thank you. All right, so now we're going to be using our skew on the end like this. We're going to start, I guess, pairing this off. I've made some crochet hooks in the past, and they're a fun project. What I like to do with crochet hooks is I'll start out with square stock, and I will machine it down, but I'll leave the square ends on it. That way I can cut out the hook shape. I can unchuck it, cut out the internal hook on the scroll saw with a really fine blade, when I still have those square pieces so it's not going to roll around. And then I can rechuck it, round over the edge, round over the other edge, and then come in with some really small files, some needle files, and then shape the insides. So I've got this little 3D printed collet. So I'm tightening it, but I'm still leaving it loose. Just a little bit snug. That way when I start sanding it, I'm not depending on clamping it directly in the center. A little wiggle room kind of works out in the situation. So there's lots of different ways of doing this. I don't like that flat spot. So we'll take it off. So these are going to get oiled. It's going to be a mineral oil and wax finish. I could also buff this out too. So I'll get out one of the little bowls that we just made, set it down, put it in here, give her a spin. So there's no vibration in it. It feels really smooth. Yep, so the more expensive ones will get buffed out with compound. And then they'll have a wax, hard wax finish on them. These are the less expensive ones. These will get a mineral oil finish. They'll work just fine. So I don't do a lot of polyurethane finishes. I don't want plastic on them. Some of my laser engraved top rails, I do put a glaze on them. But those are stained. Good morning. How's Hap doing today? Where am I? I am in Wisconsin in the United States. We are making Russian supported spindles used to spin yarn with. So the Russian spindle is a one-piece spindle. You're in London? Nice. And that's running nice and smooth, so we're doing good there. I assume in the UK, not in Canada. Have I ever visited? I have not. I hear you guys have a lot of rats. Political mess. I'm in the United States. You want to talk about political messes? Everything's gone to hell there. Yeah. Yeah, it's not peaches and cream here either. It just feels like we're in Bizarro World. I mean, it might be. You know, and I come to realize that you guys are just getting like, just hit with a ton of alien. I watched Doctor Who, and it seems like the aliens really like London a lot. Mainly Daleks and, you know, Cybermen, but beside that. Yeah. Just checking to make sure we're still balanced, which we are. Yeah. My girlfriend's like, oh, why is everything just going to hell now? And I'm like, everything's always going to hell. We're just old enough where we're paying attention now. I got a speeding ticket in Kentucky this year. That's good. Totally set me up. You know, you just gotta remember, it's all about the golden rule. The one with the gold makes the rules. Until they eat the cake. Yes. And then we can, you know, break into prisons and realize that there's only a couple insane people in them. But yeah. Oh man, now I have to say epoch. It's the only usage of the word that I know. Yeah, there's a lot of political issues I have, but that's okay. Not the time or the place. Let's give her a test spin here. Nice. Grabbing some maple. So this is very, very brown maple, but it's still maple. Right? All right, so I marked the center, and then I lined it up with my live center. But I'm not sticking it in until after I start it up. So I'm going to start the lathe up, see how it's wobbling, then I'll put it in. This is cherry. I think they sent me all cherry. Give me 1 second. Hey, honey. I think they sent us all cherry. I sorry about that. So we're gonna turn a couple more cherry ones. I have maple. They're just in a different box. Wow. All right, we'll do another cherry one here. Wow, that was scary. You love watching, so you feel you'd be so horrible at it. It takes practice. That's all it is. Yeah. The secret is don't be overly aggressive. All right, now we're just gonna back off. So that looks good. Now, if I would have just put it into the center and started up, it would have a wobble in it at this point. If that makes any sense. I guess I forgot how many we ordered. Alright, now we're going to switch from the roughing to the spindle gouge. Then I'm going to start supporting. Now, it's a good rule to always go downhill, not uphill. In this case, I go both, but... Yep, so these are going to be for Wisconsin Sheep and Wool in Lambstown in Dixon, California. So I'd like to have about 2 dozen of each wood type. And then I have some resin impregnated ones that are more expensive. I'm only going to have a handful of those. Grab some actual maple. Definitely maple. Hey Slob, welcome in. How do you differentiate between the wood without just knowing it because you paid for it? All right, so the maple is a more light colored wood, but it's very strong. You're not going to be able to put your thumb in it. And when you turn it, you're not going to see any pores whatsoever because the pores are very small on this. Where cherry is much browner, but you can get maple that's almost the same color as well. So there's a website called wooddatabase.com that goes over all the weights and characteristics of a whole bunch of wood types. But you get like here in America we have ash trees and oak trees. Now you can get ash to look a lot like oak on how you finish it. They're very similar. I really like working with maple. It just turns well. And this is hard maple. Turning oak would be the same issue where you'd have a whole bunch of dots on everything. Or it splinters? Yeah, some can, yeah. I have issues with ebony too. It's really dependent on board to board, piece to piece. Sometimes you get some ebony that's very splintery. And they do not give ebony away. Now I use a lot of exotic woods for the Turkish style spindles. Let me grab one. So this isn't sanded yet, but the arms I'll make out of exotic woods, and then I'll use maple for the shafts. So these are cut out by hand on the scroll saw. I do that quite a bit on live streaming as well. Yeah, and once you put a finish on that red heart, it gets real deep. I don't know, on the table over there we got some red hearts, some purple hearts, some canary wood, some leopard wood, some African padauk. These are used to spin yarn. So the supported spindles are for like cotton or real thin. So the reason these are good for spinning really thin is you're taking the weight of the spindle out of the equation. Where if you were using a drop spindle like this, it would be in midair, it'd be dangling. So the bigger the spindle, the heavier it is, the thicker the yarn would have to be. The supported spindles take that out of the equation. Where do I order my wood from? I'm lucky enough to live about a half hour away from a mill that carries this stuff. I also order on occasion from Oak Hooch, which is also in Wisconsin, but it's a couple hours away from me. They sell dimensional lumber. So when you buy it, it's already sanded. You know, you order 1/2 inch, it'll be sanded to a 1/2 inch, where you could just cut it. You don't have to do any of the finishing. Your nightstand is made out of table maple and somebody painted over it. Yeah, that would be a nice surprise when you go to refinish it. I got some tiger maple. I've got some bird's eye as well. Yes. That reminded me to take my sandpaper down. The quilted maple is pretty. I was going to say I don't have any oak in here, but I do have some white oak. I got some curly white oak. Yeah, I should probably put my work watch on one of these days. So right now the lathe is spinning at 3,629 RPMs, and it looks like it's standing still, so it's a good sign. Oh, definitely, yeah. Go check on the chickens. there's maple. And there's cherry. Maybe under these lighting conditions, it's not the easiest. But yeah. So up close, there's definitely differences. All right, let's go grab my watch. So we'll check in on Vicky. What you doing? So she's laser engraving these. And you can see I got all my cut lines on here too. So those, I believe, are the last, pretty much the last ones we need for the show, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna do some more music and some more sheet, and then I'll do the minis.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do everything that's here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll do a little bit of each. And then there should be, and they just have to do these. There's some that are extra. Some
Right.
that show. So yeah,
Okay, cool.
I'll let you know what's left.
Deanne says hi.
Hello.
Nothing on the 3D printers this morning. We'll take a peek out at the busy world of living in a small town. Well, that was quite the excursion. So these are just a little bit oversized. So they just barely fit in the chuck. So I'm going to hold it and I'm going to push it into the chuck. You're making a swivel base monster truck stand. Okay, monster truck stand that holds 8 per level, and there's 5 levels. Wow. So I'm going to hold it like this. I'm not going to wrap my hands around it. I'm going to hold it like this. So if it slips, it slips. I'm going to take my thumb off doing this. So, yeah, don't do that. Oh, I already got the center part. All right, I'm going to back up the tailstock, take a look at it. good. Right? You want to keep your fingers as long as possible. Like, hopefully forever. You know, and starting out, you're not going to want to be supporting the wood with your hands. It's a very specialized steel. You know, and stuff like this, it's okay if it's a little bit different because it's not a component. You know, it's its own thing. You know, if it was going to be like these are going to be part of a like spindles for like a back of a chair, you'd like them all to be pretty much exact. You're gonna have a whole bunch of them in a row. Now you can hear that. So you're actually getting a little vibration there. So you can see we got that kind of texture. When it was going, that's what it was doing. So I'm gonna come back with. I'm going to put the gouge away now, the roughing gouge, and go to the spindle gouge, which is less aggressive, and then I'm going to start supporting it. But that's the beauty of the roughing gouge. You want to just take off a bunch of material all at once. Oh, getting a phone call. That was the wrong number. And yeah. Unless I'm Nicolay, what did he say? Nicolay Energy Services, which I don't think I am. Getting old and grumpy in my old age. I'm not going to tell you who I am. It could be a one. Yeah, we're making Russian-supported spindles for spinning yarn. But it would make a nice, comfortable one. Or a baton. It'd be a little bit more bulbous, though. Get some unicorn hair. Leviosa. Expensive petroleum. Yeah, they could all be used for multiple usage, but yeah, we can go over just some of the basic ones. Hey Mustafa, how's it going? As far as gouges go, gouges are spoon-shaped. So this is a roughing spindle gouge. This is a spindle gouge. And this is a bowl gouge. So the bowl gouge is solid because you're going to get a lot more vibration, a lot more torque, bowl turning than you will with spindle turning. Where a spindle, you can see how it's coming down here into a little tang. These are Sorbies. These are made in Sheffield, England. And this one's from Amazon, made by Amazonians, I assume. Okay. So this is for making, hey B, how's it going? Square things round, round things thinner. So this is just aggressive, just bring down the diameter. Then you get to the spindle gouge, where it's more delicate. You're not taking as much off. So I'm going to be using this. This is a parting tool. I'm just going to be using this with the caliper. Once the caliper slides through, we're on size. Okay, now we're going to be using a skew. So, yeah, with the parting tool, when you're done, you can also use that to bring down, to cut off. Now, this one is about a 1/4 inch thick, or what, about 5-6 mil. Now, they make a much thinner tube for parting. Some of them will have a little carbide piece, and it'll be super thin, so you don't take off a huge amount of material. Now, the skew, right now, I'm going to be using it as a scraper. Now, you can also tilt it up on the side. This is more what they're designed for, but... Since I'm just taking off a bunch of material, I'm just going to go this way with it. Now, if you wanted to, like, make a V, you could come in from one side, switch over, come in from the other side. You know, with the gouge, you could make a rounded over piece. Now, you're always going to want to, yes, I lose it and rip it all apart. You want to go downhill with them. Relay out my lines. Yeah, hopefully we can just destroy this one. Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. So yeah, so I'm going to be using the carbide. It's a scraper, so scrape in. So with the scraper, you're just doing that. You're scraping. You're not cutting. So you're not getting, you know, big wood chips. You're just getting basically sawdust. Sharpen the carbide, but most people don't. So with the carbide, you have these inserts, and you could turn them. So when this gets dull, I'll loosen it up, turn it, tighten it back up, and you can do that like 4 times per. and then you could just take a replacement, a new one, and put it on there. So you don't even have to sharpen. You can just get inserts. Now some people will sharpen them. I personally don't. For those, you gotta have use like a diamond sharpener. So with the carbide, there's really no finesse. You really don't have to learn the feel of the tools. Basically, you stick it in and move it back and forth until it's the shape you want it. You know, you're always going to want to be cutting just a hair under the center. With resin work, you're going to want to be really, 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 really sharp. Or carbide is your friend. Yeah, with resin, I'd almost say start with carbide. Somebody keeps handing me this.
Maybe we should get you one of those. We should do a double filter.
You just drank my Kool-Aid. Thank you, honey. She's pushing fluids today. Want to see something scary? I took some B supplements. My pee could glow in the dark right now. It's fluorescent. I didn't do a very good job, but yeah. There's a lot of people who are way more skilled than I am out there as far as teaching this stuff. You know, and I do a lot of spindle work. I don't do a lot of bowl work. It's just... I like turning bowls. It's fun, but yeah, this is kind of my, you know, my bread and butter. I have not tried 3D printing molds. That's something I would like to do eventually. Now, I've seen people, you know, they 3D print, you know, not just the mold, you know, the actual part you're going to turn, and then you fill it full. So, yeah, it's the mold like that. And then you have different designs 3D printed in it, so when you turn it, you have those designs in the pen. That sounds like fun. I was thinking about making and, like, packing Fimo, like that clay in there. Give that a try.
Because that way you can get away with just printing like PLA. I've never printed nylon. It's something I never have done. I mean, I got the dryer and everything. The skin getting wrecked. Yeah, for that you'd almost have to cast it with the blank on the inside. Where you already have the tube impregnated. So it'll be like a rectangular mold, and then it'll have like little cone-shaped pieces that you put the tube in, and then those go into the mold. So you're casting around the tube rather than drilling a hole later and putting the tube in. And off the top of my head, I can't think about what that type of casting is. There's a term for it. There's a lot of Facebook groups that do pen turning. So, you know. We're getting there. We got 3 of each. Yeah, I know they sell them in like Woodcraft and Rockler. Those are kind of the woodworking shops around where I am. And I know you're in Australia, so that doesn't help at all. They're in the UK, cool. A little closer. I mean, to be honest, everything there's probably made in China anyway. For the most part. Yeah, I bet. have to search Temu, yes. Yeah, so the cove that I'm putting in here is pretty tight. And I don't have a really, really dinky skew to get in there. I mean, it's bigger than some, you know. So yeah, I decided it's just easier to use carbide in this situation. All joking aside, I've got a couple things that were pretty darn useful from Temu. Were they rip-offs of other things? Absolutely. Are they good as the original? Probably not. Could any of the tools be used to do everything if you needed to do that? Yeah, you could. I could probably do all the turning operations with the gouge, the spindle gouge. It would take longer. Yeah, because I'm just reaching for the roughing gouge. Now, I'm not a huge skew guy, but you could do it all with the skew as well. I'm not a skew master. Not a problem. A little zony this morning. So Vicky is using the oscillating belt sander right now. So when she's done, I have to ask her if she's trying to break the new one too. I feel so bad. It's been, the belt's been slipping on it for a while. And she just happened to use it when it finally broke. Wow. That's not great broom placement by any means. So I'm running a little 5-gallon bucket vacuum cleaner for that. She's a popsicle. Yes, she is. And I have no idea what she's sanding. Oh, I think she's sanding the bottoms of the apex. That would make sense. Oh, there's a lot of different products out there for wood finishes for turn stuff. This is actually a clear wood turner's finish. I gotta grab my pliers. I'll be right back. You know, I'm using paste wax. You can use beeswax. Some people use like the carnauba wax. That works well as well. A lot of people mix up their own secret stash, their own secret stuff with like boiled linseed oil and. And you know, when I'm turning like acrylic pens, you know, I will wet sand those down. You know, I'll wet sand them down to, you know, 12,000 grit. And then, you know, buff them from there. They sell little buffing compound tubes for pen turning. You know, you don't need everything all at once. You know, wood turning is a lot like eating an elephant. Just one bite at a time. Yeah, when I used to work in the Oshkosh truck putting military vehicles together, they would use a really like thick grease, and they would smear it on like all the plates, all the information tags on the truck, and then they would paint them. And then when you're done, you could just scrape that grease off. You know, when I first started turning, I was making baseball bats. That's kind of my thing. I really wasn't doing the small, intricate stuff. And you know, when you first start out, run it slow. You know, I'm running super fast because I'm making super tiny thin things. Yeah, I could see that happening. My woods teacher's like, if I come up to you and ask you what you're doing, you better have an explanation for what you're doing. If you're sharpening a piece of wood to stab somebody in the butt with it, that's not an acceptable use of your time. And I'm sure I told the story. I taught my son how to make wooden train whistles. And then him and his friends in the wood shop would secretly make little whistles, and they were selling them. And next thing you know, the high school banned all whistles. I'm sure the wood teacher's like, where's all my doweling going? I just bought doweling. The only sewing I did at school was we had a rotating home ec thing that we had to do. all I ended up making was a surfboard pillow. No, it was a skateboard. It was a skateboard pillow. I've got short little legs, so I've done a bunch of hemming in my life. That's cool. There we go. It's got a little bit of vibration in it. So this is going into my personal stash. I think eventually I'll make a holder for Russian spindles and use these as like the legs. We'll see. Yeah, I don't have a lot from school that I made at all. I do have the first candlestick I ever turned on the lathe. And the only reason I have that is my parents held on to that. I don't know about that. I mean, I made a table and a matching shelf my senior year. Well, the shelf was junior year, and then I designed the table to mimic the shape of the shelf. I had that for a few years. Really didn't bring me joy. Hey John, how's it going? Yeah, it's just, at the time, it really doesn't mean anything to you. It was kind of more about the project, less about the final result, I guess. So I started watching Ted Lasso on Amazon, and I got like halfway through the first season, and they made it one of those. They made it a pay program midstream. I got to like middle. I got through the episode, and instead of going to the next episode, it just went to something else. I'm like, what's going on? So luckily, when I got my new phone, I got 3 months of Apple TV. So I got to remember to cancel that now. Boy, first world problems. Right? I didn't realize it was being canceled or taken off the service. It didn't say leaving soon or anything that I saw. Or maybe it was always pay and they just gave you the first X amount of episodes for free. I don't know. we're gonna finish up this one, then we're gonna go over to the scroll saw for a while. Definitely time to sit down. Yeah, I'll finish up the other part later. Ooh, there it is. So there's the camping shower. So that's the pump. So as horrible as it is, it's still better than not having a shower. Did Vicky kick me out? Not yet. She's working on it. Don't give her any ideas. Do I use mesh sandpaper? I do on occasion. Yeah, right now, I've used it on my like random orbital sanders and stuff, and it does a really good job.
It is quite pricey, you know. I do use the mesh. I got the inch thick rolled stuff. So if I'm sanding stuff on the lathe, if I want something, you know, going down to 600 grit, sometimes it's kind of easier, just kind of blow it off. All right. You okay? Okay. What's that? Oh, honey, yeah. When you put the drill in the chuck, you got to make sure it's centered in there. She just chucked up her drill bit at an angle. She turned it on. It says wah 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 wah. I don't think that's gonna fit in the jig. Man, I don't have a bucket anymore. Thank you, honey. So I keep a 5-gallon bucket right underneath the scroll saw. So, you know, I have it mounted at an angle so things fall into this bucket. Definitely need a shower. Well, that's what happened to the bucket. I mean, it's the shower bucket now. You can take as long of a shower as you want to, as long as it's 5 gallons of water or less. No, we don't have air conditioning in here. And, you know, I do walk to work, and I've been doing a lot more jogging than walking, so.
Okay. The regular apex are done.
Okay, cool. All right. So, yeah. As horrible as it is, it's better than nothing. No template? No, these are already laser engraved in there. Yeah, so these are kind of unique. So these are laser engraved on both sides. So, cut what off? The one that says not drill?
Yes, exactly. Do you want it?
Sure.
Your minis and okay.
Do you want me to cut that in half while I'm cutting here?
Yeah, you might as well.
All right. Oh, yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, so we'll go into that in a second. Let me just cut this down. That's the resin impregnated stuff. So pretty. All right. Yep. So there's a jig for the F1. So it's a galvo laser. So it's a jig that has a block with a peg. So you put that into the peg and register it. then you laser engrave one side with the pattern, then you flip it over, and then you laser engrave it without the pattern. So that way you have it on both sides. So we are making small Turkish spindles for spinning yarn. We're currently cutting out cherry. These are called Apex. This is the model. So yeah, these pieces are, when we make like the cutouts, these are the bottom, or like a standard. These are the leftover pieces on the bottom. A little bit tight. So we're gonna sneak up. There we go. I'm doing good. So when we laser engrave these, we don't mask them. So you'll see there's kind of a little bit of a char going on. Well, we have to sand it anyway, so it doesn't make sense to mask it, to take the masking off and then sand it all anyway. So
There's still some char on there too.
not so much. It looks pretty good.
It's like alcohol.
You used a little bit of alcohol to get it off, yeah.
Oh, good. I just got a notification from Taco Bell. So I noticed the last couple days my give me 1 second. Sorry. My feed on TikTok has all been about Garvey has released a bandsaw, an 8-inch bandsaw. No, Garvey, they were selling scroll saws too, and they so people who make the videos can get a cut of them. So like everybody is yeah, important stuff, right? So everybody is making videos trying to sell these things. It's like $120 bandsaw, $150 bandsaw. But yeah, so the people that are getting these to sell them are people who just sell product. So they don't know how they work. They and it comes with this thingy for this, and it's like, at least open the manual and see what they are. I think the worst is there's one place that they just do AI videos, and they're like, oh, look how smooth it cuts. And the video shows the wood going backwards. So it's being cut by the saw blade that doesn't have any teeth on it. Yeah, I'm going to pick up mine today. Just, ugh. One girl's like, oh, look, I got this bandsaw from Garvey. It's so nice. I didn't take out of the box because I'm giving it to my dad. Well, that really makes you want to buy it. Hey Kay, how's it going? Welcome in. And I don't have a business account anymore because I'm a sole proprietor, and they want a business license. And yeah, so I go to fill that out, and then my city doesn't exist either. So it's like I can't even go through the setup procedure. So, but for a while there, I could see what your cut would be if you sold something. Yeah, and they're all, oh, we're having it's such a great deal. You can do a Google search for the image of the product, because like any other tool manufacturer, most of them, they don't actually make their own tools. So you can get the exact same saw with a different brand name for like $40 less than what they're charging on TikTok. Actually, I think Garvey's Amazon account is cheaper than TikTok too. Well, it has to be. They have to be able to, you know, pay the people to sell them. And I saw another one. This guy's like, oh, yeah, come hunting season. I'm going to use this to cut up my deer. Oh, that's great advice. You know, bandsaws for meat are all stainless steel, and then you can take them apart and everything can be sanitized. And
Yeah. I mean, the company can't make those claims, otherwise they would get their asses sued off. Because you can't fully disassemble it and clean it, so bacteria is going to live in there, and next thing you know, you're killing off your family. Hey, how's it going? How's Queen doing today?
I don't have any alpaca. You want me to make alpaca
Sure,
for the big apex?
sure. Well, maybe the shower's for you.
What?
Maybe we have the shower here for you for when I kick you out for not laying out alpaca.
Yeah, and like,
I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old and grumpy. Yeah. You want salmonella? We'll give you some salmonella. You want a different bacteria? Well, we'll see what's flying around. You could save so much money. I don't know. And that's not what I want to do. It's just, yeah. If I like the product, I'll say, okay. I got a couch. I got a nice, big, comfy couch. Worst case scenario, I'll just move into the workshop like everybody suggested. Oh no, I'm being forced to sleep in the shop tonight where all my cool stuff is. It's like sending your kid to their room. No, I'm going to send you to my room. No alpaca, but I'm cutting out bunny rabbits like they're going out of style over here.
yep, some for sure, some for
Both shows?
bullshit.
Yeah, so we walked to work at about what, 5 this morning? 5 o'clock? 5:30. Then we get here, we have a pot of coffee. I have 2 cups of coffee, and then I took a nap. Yeah, caffeine does not caffeine for me. It does help me focus, though. I'll give it that. And it's a ritual, too, so... Yep. I'm neurodivergent, so yeah. Sleeping with the geese tonight. Didn't see any geese this morning. There was one family there yesterday, so there's like 5 or 6. So what, you just trying to break it because it's new? Yeah, like trying to get your money's worth out of
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It does a good job, though.
You know, I was gonna say something too. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna break this.
Yeah. You broke the last one.
All right.
Give me a second. Yeah, so what she was doing is she's sanding this flat. Sometimes when you lay it out, it'll be rough. So just put it on the belt sander. Vicky even used the big bandsaw yesterday or 2 days ago.
Used it this morning too.
Did you? I didn't see.
I cut down the apex.
Ah, okay. Nice. She's scared of the big bandsaw. Not so much?
What's that?
Are you getting used to it?
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm just going to use a little bandsaw. I've been cutting cardboard with it. But the little bandsaw's got a much more aggressive blade than that. So if you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hit way worse on that one.
Right.
Yep, so these are the Apex. They come in 2 sizes. So this is the Apex, and then this is the mini Apex.
Maybe I won't.
Can't find it?
It's not in the list.
All right, then don't worry about it. You want me to go look?
No, I don't have to worry about it.
All right. Yeah, it's definitely spooky with the bats.
Yeah. We'll situate that later.
All right.
So.
So-
It's like we don't have big cats either. I'm sure we do somewhere.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know where.
So this one has music on it. So, this Turkish spindle, I put the Turkish March on there. It was either that or I was going to put the theme from the Flintstones. So usually about once a show, somebody will be like, I know what that is. And then we just all bask at how clever I am. These are drop spindles that are used for spinning yarn. So these are Turkish style, or cross arm spindles. So there'll be a shaft that sits on in the middle. So right now we're building up some inventory. We're doing a few festivals. So that's why we're making multiples of the same thing right now. Usually for the websites, you know, I'll only make a couple of the same thing. Depending, you know. Excuse me. Those notes are out of tune, right? It just sounds different than it's not on a harpsichord. Oh, wait. Ran out of room there. All right, let's try it again. So that's the first. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, Mozart, you're so Mozartsy. There was just a song about Mozart's life made in the 1980s. What band was that, honey? What band did Rock Me Amadeus? Falco. They learned a valuable lesson from Wang Chung, I believe. The secret is use your bad name in the song. It was their aha moment. Oh, except for aha doesn't use aha in their songs. Dinosaur. Okay, we got one more music one to go. I'm sorry to hear that. I bet it's really hard because, you know, you can see my fingernails and my skin. Check out that epidermis. And I'd just like to point out that I am, in fact, a mammal.
What?
I am a mammal.
Thank you.
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaur.
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 What wood is this? What wood is this?
Oh, that's oh gosh, you're gonna quiz me, aren't you?
I'm going to quiz you.
That's,
Yes.
dude.
Bolivian rosewood. Somebody needs a Bolivian rosewood dinosaur. Did we eat breakfast like super early this morning? Are you getting hungry?
I am a little bit.
All right. I think I'm going to finish up this one and then I'm going to go make some lunch. Now, are you okay with tomato soup, or would you like the cream of chicken soup? I am also making grilled cheese.
I don't get
Tomato soup, you're okay with me using milk?
Huh?
Milk in it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
I prefer it that way anyway, so.
I think this is a Brontosaurus. I could be wrong. If I was a unicorn, I could tell Charlie what it was, but I can't remember what kind of dinosaur that was. Always tomatoed and grilled cheese. They go together. Like pudding and fish fingers. Custard and fish fingers. Thank you very much. Well, technically, would pudding be a custard? Would custard be a pudding? Sure, not everybody from London's gone. We'll never know. And tofu and garbage bins. I like tofu, dang it. Do I love tofu? No. Does it make me feel superior to everybody else? Yes. Alright guys, thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Oh man, we are getting burnt out waiting for these shows to happen. Yeah. Hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. I should be finishing up the Turkish probably maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday. For the show. You know, we'll keep going. Yeah. You betcha. I haven't even talked about the nap I'm going to be taking. But yes, definitely. Alright guys. Catch you next time. And remember, be nice to people, because people